ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಸುಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೆ ಶುಭೋದಯ ಹಾಗೂ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಶಿವಶಕ್ತಿ ಕಲಾ ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ 8 ಗಂಟೆ 16 ನಿಮಿಷಗಳು. ಇಂದು ಸೋಮವಾರ ಅಮಾವಾಸ್ಯೆ 30th May 2022. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಹಾಸಂಚಿಕೆಯ ನಂಬರು 1865 1865. Now we are on the way of the Hindu marriage, a scientific analysis. The section on this head is the Hindu marriage, a scientific analysis, part 4. We are proceeding now. In the part 4, the signature tune I have chosen is Bilahari, the morning raga. But through this raga, I just say good morning to everybody, the youngsters particularly, who are bachelors and who are already married and still in their 40s. They can also understand what exactly the scientific meaning analysis in the Hindu marriage. But as far as I am concerned, I don't say Hindu, any marriage as a matter of fact, because the spouse, husband and wife all over the world will have to face the same psychological problem and also life problems, as I could say, because we are all basically human beings. We have to, because two souls has to mingle and adjust. Life is compromise. So with this background, I am just analyzing. Actually, I am not analyzing. I am reading a book which has got 25 pages. So far I have covered 8.5 pages, which have been printed in a very rare book by one Mr. H K S Rao, The Hindu Marriage, a scientific analysis, 40 years ago. And he has culled out so many things. What happened earlier, that is 40 years before when he has written. So, with this background, I will continuing the part 3rd. Now, we are entering to part 4 of the Hindu marriage, a scientific analysis. In the previous session, I have just stopped. This is called Kankana Bandha. So, what is Kankana and all those things? Scientifically, the tying of the thread has very good significance. According to medical science, the mount on the 4th finger, that is ring finger, is connected with weak vision and palpitation of the heart. The particular nerve responsible for this runs through the wrist. Hence, just to regulate the flow of blood and the heartbeat among the couple, this thread is tied. This thread is made up of cotton and a small piece of turmeric and small piece of woolen thread and attached to the cotton thread. The mere contact of this thread with turmeric and wool with the human body will have effect on the electric energy in the body. The electric energy in the bodies of both the bride and the bridegroom is controlled and regulated in such a way that both of them feel oneness psychologically. Thus, the inner affection between the husband and wife is kindled. Also, the heartbeat and flow of blood will be regulated in both the individuals in such a way that their minds think alike. Thread tied on the wrist of the male is little thicker, 3 folds, while the thread tied on the female's wrist is a little thinner, 2 folds. This is because of the difference in the internal organs of the male and female due to difference in sex. And due to this difference, there will be difference in the palpitation of the heart and flow of blood. Just to regulate this, the threads are tied. This may look queer to the layman. One should know that the heartbeat is first examined at the wrist by pulse rate. The next most important ritual is putting rice on the heads of one another. Rice is allotted to moon. Astrologically, moon is Manakkaraka. Moon is Manakkaraka, that is, rules over mind. The rice, when taken by the bride in her hand, absorbs certain quantity of electric energy of hers, and when put on the head of the bridegroom, the electric energy is transmitted to him by electromagnetic activity. In return, the rice taken by the bridegroom and put on the head of the bride will transmit the electric energy of the bridegroom to the bride. Why it should be put on the head only? This is a big question. The top of the head is called Brahmanda. According to Maharshi Vatsayana, Brahmanda or the top of the head is very important center of generating and discharging of electric energy in the human body. From here, it is carried to other parts of the body, and this will have a lasting effect on the mind. This ritual is also meant for making the bride and the bridegroom to think alike, thus feeling oneness in the interest of family happiness. So for this, I will just, Madam MSS, will you please show this diagram to my esteemed cultural audience. Further, I am going to explain another ritual which has been written. This is the one putting rice on the heads. A graphic, beautiful graphic on that edge, where the printing and technology was in primitive stage. Now this can be shown beautifully by graphics and other things, latest technology using. But here, I think this will support the which one I have just explained, putting rice on the heads of each other. Okay. So the next ritual is one of the most important one, Mangala Dharana, or tying the sacred gold ornament around the neck of the bride by the bridegroom. Before analyzing this, we should first understand the significance of wearing the sacred thread, that is Yagnopavita by males. It is the age of 8 of a boy that Upanayanam is performed. As a part of the Upanayanam, the boy is made to wear the sacred thread. Why? As already stated earlier, there is a systematic change in the human body, both physical and mental, every 7 years. It is at the age of 18 that a boy gets the power of grasping. Hence, his regular education begins from this age. This is called Vedatyayana, or studying the Vedas or holy scriptures. Before the boy begins his studies, he is made to wear the sacred thread at the ritual called Upanayanam, and then he is sent to Gurukula, that is residential school, where he has to stay for 12 years under the care of the Guru or master. The various nerves in the human body run from the head to the rest of the body through the shoulder. Vagus nerve plays a most important part in the body. A light pressure on the nerve will control and regulate the heartbeat and flow of blood. This light pressure is provided by this thread, that is sacred thread, Janivara. This may look very silly to a layman. Please see the opinion of the experts. Quote, Dr. Saxena of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for Children, Mr. D. Solanki and Dr. Mohan Kataria of King's College Hospital have found that squeezing the ears could be useful to treating the heart troubles. The research team wondered if there could be a medical reason in winding the sacred thread around the ear prior to defecation by Brahmins, a custom practiced from the time immemorial. Again I read. The research team wondered if there could be a medical reason in winding the sacred thread around the ear prior to defecation by Brahmins, custom practiced from time immemorial. They felt that behind this purely religious ritual might be a psychological function, possibly through the vagus nerve, a branch of which runs through the ear, controls the heartbeat, its force of contraction and its excitability. This is the message from a London-based Indian doctors, reported in London Times. In another para says, the ritual winding the sacred thread around the ear prior to defecation, observed by the Brahmins, has a scientific basis. It was reported at the World Pediatric Meet here. This maneuver stimulates a branch of the vagus nerve around the ear and thereby helps bowel movement. Dr. S. R. Saxena of the Queen Elizabeth Children's Hospital in London told the conference. He said, this practice is a ritualized means of stimulating the vagus nerve. He has discovered that stimulation of vagus nerve also has effects on the heart. Thus, it is clear from the above findings by the experts that the sacred thread controls the heartbeat of the males. But what about the females? In olden times, when the Dharmashastras and rituals were ordained by the original Maharshis, the female were also made to wear the sacred thread at the time of marriage at the age of 8 then. But later, preceptors changed this practice and introduced the wearing of mangalya. This mangalya must be tied around the neck of the bride by her husband only. The wearing of this mangalya is only a substitute to the sacred thread. Therefore, the wearing of mangalya is to the female as the sacred thread is to the male. When tying this mangalya, the bridegroom says, thus, Mangalyam tantuna nena mama jivana hetuna kante badna bisubage sajiva sharadam shatam. That is, for the well-being in my life, I tie this mangalyam around your neck. You live for 100 years. This means, if the husband is to be happy in his married life, he must have a dutiful and loving partner to make his life happy. For this, she must be quite hale and healthy to give happiness to her husband. This wearing of mangalyam helps her to maintain her health to a considerable extent. How? As already stated, this helps and regulates the heartbeat and flow of blood by its weight on the vagus nerve which runs through the shoulders through mangalyam. There is another utility of this mangalyam. Invariably, even the poorest of the poor will go in for a mangalya made of gold only. When the gold ornament in the shape of mangalya is worn, the water when poured over the body at the time of taking bath will absorb certain quantity of quality of gold and flows from the top of the bottom of the body. This will help to resist certain skin diseases. According to Ayurveda, the Indian system of medicine, gold has the power of curing excess of heat and bile, increase digestive power and increases vitality. Also, it helps to increase fertility in the female according to the latest research. What is the latest research? I quote, Doctor finds gold in human semen. Dr. K.P. Skandan, Assistant Professor of Psychology at the BJ Medical College here in Ahmedabad, told an international conference on internal medicine currently underway here that gold was found in all the semen samples, studied by him through the spectroscopic analysis. Through the spectroscopic analysis method. He said the discovery might encourage physicians to adopt the traditional method of curing infertile persons by using gold as was done in Ayurveda, because there seemed a direct link between the quantity of gold found in the semen and the sperm mortality. This was also reported in the Deccan Herald on 31st January 1981. Thus, what holds good to the male, it should also apply to the females. In fact, it is well known that gold ornaments are worn by ladies. This wearing of gold ornaments will certainly enhance the fertility in them. It is left to the scientists to do more research in this field. And finally, the wearing of this gold ornament, that is Mangalya, controls and regulates the electric energy in the body to a certain extent. In this way, the health of the individual is maintained. Now, one can easily understand why the tying of Mangalya by the husband or wearing the same by the wife is given to the pride of place. Pride of place. Before going to the next ritual, I wanted to conclude this Mangalya and how scientific it is, and it is analyzed by the no less than doctors. Then 40 years back. Now, what is now? I leave it to my highly cultured viewers through YouTube. Let me again come back with some more important information scientifically analyzed by Mr. Rao in the next session. Thank you very much.